Here's how you're going to defeat lust. So lust is a huge issue, especially for young men in today's generation, and it's probably affecting your life. It's probably causing you to feel empty, feel depressed, feel guilty, and feel shameful. And it truly does damage especially young men because it causes men to have messed up beliefs. It causes them to not trust themselves. It causes them to feel guilty, feel shameful about their own self-identity. So you have to stop giving into lust. You have to not let lust destroy your life, and you can't let lust consume you because lust is extremely dangerous and is extremely powerful. So you have to defeat it. And there are a few ways you're going to defeat lust. There's a few paths you have to go down because the truth is about lust is you can't just defeat it with one way. You're not going to be able to wake up one day and you're going to just magically defeat lust because you have to understand lust is a tool. Lust was put here for a purpose. There's a reason behind it. The problem is you're starting to abuse it. You're abusing it for your own perverted view and you're abusing it for pleasure. So you're using it as a drug. So you have to understand that lust itself is not bad. The way you're using it is the problem. It's why it's causing you to feel empty, destroy your life. So the way you're going to defeat lust, firstly, you have to understand the reason why you know it's bad for you, the reason why you give into it, even though you know you're going to feel guilty after, is because you lack a level of self-respect. You lack self-love. Because if you truly loved yourself so much, why would you do something that you know is bad for you? You wouldn't. So if you do think lust is wrong, and a lot of people do, some people will argue that lust, like gooning, isn't wrong, it isn't bad, but I think you and me, we can all argue lust, gooning, it's bad for the soul, it's bad for the mind, it's bad for the heart. So why would you do it? Why do you do it when you know consciously that after you do it, you're going to feel guilty, you're going to feel depressed, you're going to feel shameful? Why do you do it? It's because you don't love yourself. You have a sense of almost self-hatred. You don't respect yourself enough. You look down on yourself and you look up at lust. You view lust as higher than you and you don't view yourself with enough value. So you have to start viewing yourself with more value. You have to look at yourself at a certain perception that I love myself. I love myself enough to the point where I'm not going to give in to lust because I have so much self-love. The reason why so many young men suffer to lust, they suffer with unity, they suffer with all these things, is because they don't have confidence. And the lack of confidence makes it easy to resort to giving into porn, giving into these things to get that fake sense of confidence. That fake sense of I did something, I accomplished something, that quick instant gratification. But the problem is every time you give in to that instant gratification, that fake confidence boost, you know what it does? It drains that drive inside of you to accomplish something real, something meaningful. So a lot of men will get stuck in this cycle of lust where they get so trapped in it to the point where they lose their drive as a man. They lose their want to accomplish, their want to win in life. And they replace it with just giving into that short-term dopamine because it almost hijacks the brain to think you accomplished something. Because what sex is, it's the most meaningful thing of life. It's the most biological, important human accomplishment a human can have. So when you're trying to like artificially replace it with something on the screen and convince you, what you're doing every time you fap is you're convincing yourself you're having sex. So you are convincing your brain that you are doing the most high honor important thing in human biology. So that is causing you to think you did something when in reality you didn't. So you're going to lose your drive to accomplish anything else. So you have to stop. It'll kill your drive, it'll kill your discipline, it makes you unfocused, it makes you empty, and it rewires your brain. Every time you give into it, your brain learns that new habit. Eventually, those new habits cause new neural pathways to build, new neurons using neuroplasticity, and your brain gets hooked to it. And the problem is, that's why I say there's multiple ways to defeating lust. You have to first diagnose what's your problem. For some people, it's a habit. For some people, they lack emotional connection. For some people, they're addicted. There's all these different levels to it. So I'm going to go over all of them through this video. So you kind of have to figure out which one do I resonate most with, which one do I connect the most with. But yeah, a big one is it's a habit. If you've been doing it for years, your brain has automatically been trained to do it. So you might notice you do it at a certain time of the day, a certain place. It's all because your brain has been wired to do it. There might be times where you don't even want to do it. You don't even really feel like doing it. You just get this random urge and you're like, oh, fine. You just do it. It's because your brain is wired. So you have to rewire your brain. You have to break these habits and you have to replace them with new ones. So one practice you can do, which I've done a lot, that helped me a lot, was every time you have the urge to lust, every time you have the urge to fap, maybe go hook up with some random girl, you're instead going to do something else, something productive. So you get the urge to fap, for an example, you get the urge to fap, you instead do something like read a book. You can biohack this with any sort of habit. But what this is going to do is over time, every time you practice this, your brain's going to associate the urge of lust with doing that productive thing. So automatically you're going to have the biological urge to give into lust, but your brain, instead of thinking I'm going to actually fap, I'm instead going to read the book. So that is how you're going to use neuroplasticity to biohack your brain and become an unstoppable human being. Because there really is a lot of average and mediocrity in the world. I see it around me a lot, man. Quick side note. I go to class and it's 7 in the morning. I see kids eating like Skittles, drinking soda, and I'm like, phew. Like the competition really is low. Most kids around you are just sitting there fapping, playing video games, giving into cheap dopamine. And that's the truth, man. It's the sad truth reality, but it makes it so easy to win in life. It makes it so easy to become extraordinary, to become a great, successful human being. But going back to lust. Another problem I see people have is the lack of emotional connection. One reason people are so attached to lust is because they lack emotional connection. When you lack the human connection, the human drive to experience a bond with another person, and you don't have that, you're going to be very vulnerable to giving into lust, to giving into porn fapping. Because as human beings, we have an innate desire to go out, to connect with others. A lot of it's the opposite sex, to connect with, like, I'm a man, to connect with a woman, have a real relationship with women. But we have a loneliness crisis in society. So the problem is all these men are lonely. There's some sort of statistic. We're the loneliness like we've ever been in the world, right? Fewest people are dating statistically ever, young people especially. So all these young men they're missing emotional connection. They're not experiencing it. And this is going against human biology. So what are they doing? They're going for let me get my phone here. They're going for the cheap dopamine. They're going to instead, what are they going to do? Go out in the world, try to find women, do all the work? Why would they do that? But they can go on their phone, go on Twitter, get a quick hit of dopamine, and just boom, it'll fulfill their urge. And they won't have the urge anymore. The problem is when you're fulfilling this urge in this artificial way, your urge isn't really fulfilled. It's just being numbed. And when you numb your urge, you're just numbing yourself. So you have to not give into that route. You have to instead give into the route and search for emotional connection. I have a lot of young men who comment on my TikToks and DM me and try to give other people advice. And what they say, I see a huge trend in this, is a lot of young men will say, once I got a girlfriend, once I found love, naturally the lust, I stopped watching porn, I stopped fapping. And I experienced this too, throughout stages in my life. When you find love, when you start building that connection you're probably a man, with a woman, it helps you, it really helps you break the chains of lust. Because a lot of it, man, is loneliness. You're lonely, you're sad, so what are you going to do? Search for that emotional connection through porn, through these things, through fapping, because it gives you that artificial hit, that artificial for 5 seconds that maybe you have built a connection, but it's all numb, it's all degenerate. You're looking at a screen at some girl who doesn't even know you, and you're just getting off to it, getting a 5-second dopamine hit, and eventually your dopamine hit goes all the way below baseline, you feel empty, you feel depressed, you feel guilty. So make sure you search for emotional connection. There's a lot of red pill out there. People who say, you don't want to get into a relationship. You want to participate in hookup culture. Get with a bunch of girls. It's all false. It's all false, because one of the most beautiful things in this world is when you can build a genuine connection with a woman, and it's just you and her, and it's not promiscuous, out of the box like tons of other people, because. Another thing that people try to do to fill this connection is hookup culture. They'll get with girls, they'll go out. They'll try to just get sneaky. They think it fills the urge to get this primal sense of I dominated this girl because I had sex with her. But that also pollutes the soul and it pollutes the mind, my friend. So you have to just focus on building a genuine relationship with a woman. Don't be needy. Don't be searching for it, okay? I want to say this. Don't go out there like I need to build a relationship with a woman. There's a quote I love. It's, if you build a beautiful garden, the butterflies will naturally come. So you need to focus on yourself. A lot of men, they focus on the external. They wanna chase women, right? They chase women. There's that term. They chase them. But instead, you have to focus on chasing yourself, chasing your identity, growing your garden, becoming the best version of yourself, and naturally these women will come to you. So just focus on yourself, and eventually a butterfly will fly past your garden, and maybe you can bond with her. Maybe you can build a genuine relationship with her. Because I promise, if you struggle with lust, a lot of it is a lack of love in the heart. I mean, that's what lust is. Lust is a lack of love in the heart. So once you adopt that mindset that I'm going to start looking at the world in a more loving view, naturally lust will just disappear. It'll be left behind you. So that's why it's so crucial to build a loving relationship. Maybe that relationship doesn't have to be a woman. Maybe it can be God. Maybe it can be your family. Maybe it can be that purpose. Maybe you can build a loving relationship with your goals. That's true. But I think building a loving relationship with a woman might be one of the most beautiful things in this world, and I hope I do it one day as well. So focus on that. Focus on human connection. So what we went over so far, habits, your habits. A lot of the reason why you give into lust is habitual. Then we went over how to rewire habits. Then we went over the neuroscience. We went over emotional connection. Here's some more I want to talk about. Corn is meant to be addictive, okay? It's not your fault you're addicted to it. It's meant to be addictive. A lot of people don't even know why it's addictive, but the reason why it's so addictive is because, like I said, it's replacing that artificial hit. So what happens when you're participating in sexual intercourse is all the neurons in your brain are firing. It's like this weird spiritual moment, right? And when you're trying to artificially replace that with, your phone pixels on the screen, it really damages you. And it really messes up your view of relationships. It messes up your view of connection, and it just really hurts your brain. It also damages your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for discipline. So you're going to end up being less disciplined. And there is a tie between discipline in the brain and your willpower to live. So that's why a lot of people will watch porn, and guess what will happen? Their will to live will naturally go down. They'll start feeling depressed, maybe even suicidal. So yeah, man, just focus on the things that matter. Stop focusing on lust. Stop focusing on quick dopamine. If you, I really think we're all gonna die one day, but I really think if you want to live a meaningful life, you have to just reject degeneracy. You have to reject the world. I personally think you have to live for God. You have to live for purpose. You have to live for connection, strive for love, and all these things. Porn, lust, it kills those things because lust kills love. But do you know what kills lust? Love kills lust. So it's almost just like Yushi, right? The black and white ball, you know what I'm talking about. They're in a circle. So you have to pick and choose, okay? If you want to defeat lust, then guess what? You have to stop giving into lust, and you have to instead embrace love. So yeah, man, lust will really hurt you. It'll really damage your life. I think young men struggle with it a lot, especially because it's being pushed upon them purposefully because it's an industry that they're making a lot of money off of. So just be aware, be cautious of it, and reject it. The only way to achieve success is to reject degeneracy. So that's why you need to focus on your relationship with God, focus on your purpose, and naturally, so this is a summary. This is going to be closer to the end of the video. What you need to do, firstly, identify the problem. You're addicted to lust. You're giving into lust. You can't stop. What's the reason for that? Is it habitual? Are you lacking connection? Are you viewing lust as higher than you? Do you not have a purpose? Do you not have a goal? Are you not serving God? Do you not fear God? There's all these different pieces of the puzzle that you have to connect together. But eventually you're going to figure it out. You're going to connect the pieces. You're going to be like, okay, here's why I'm addicted to lust. So be conscious of it. And then figure out, this is the problem. Here's how I'm going to fix it. Rewire the brain, build meaningful connections, embrace love, kill lust. So that's how you're going to defeat lust. I have all my social medias in the bio. Follow them all. Thank you.